It is the end of an era, family. 20 bucks a month for vibe coding is just not going to play it, my friends. That's right. Today we're going to talk about, is this the actual end of vibe coding for you or is it not? Where can we find the most value? What's the real sauce as far as like what's going on and what can you really get for 20 bucks a month? And is it really that you have to commit to a $200 a month plan to really start using what we call agentic coding? We're just going to go ahead and explore that today because there's a lot of different things that are going on with all the pricing updates with Cursor that's been happening. But the introduction of these $200 a month plans, starting with the OpenAI Pro plan and then coming in with Claude Code and all the different things you can get with Claude, as far as like a platform and then what Cursor is offering and so forth. So it's going to get a little hairy because I know a lot of people have a lot of different questions and they're trying to figure out what's the thing they should be using. Is it Gemini? Is it all these other stuff? So let's just kind of get into it and kind of talk about like Cursor, because I know I use Cursor a lot and I think this is going to be very helpful if we start there and then kind of go on outwards as far as what we're using. So if you're coding with AI, you're probably using Claude Sonnet right now. So what I've kind of come to realize is that the $20 a month plans have been kind of not nerfed, but they basically offer you so many requests. So with Claude Sonnet being so expensive, the $20 a month pro plan that people used to be on and that I actually am still on with Cursor will only get you right around 225 Sonnet 4 requests. So it's basically, if you used to have that 20 bucks a month plan, you used to get 500 fast requests with Cursor. And then previously, after you go over the 500 fast requests, then you would go to like some type of slow kind of queued type of tier. And with the latest release of Claude Sonnet 4 in the last like month and a half or so, now that's basically been reduced to like 225 requests. And if you're using the Opus plan, it's kind of not really listed there, but it's probably half as much or so before you hit the limit for the entire month. And then that means you have to like pay per use and so forth. So kind of just starting there, this is kind of what it looks like. It's also looking like the field is kind of shifting as far as what you're going to be getting for your plans. So the 20 bucks a month pro plans are basically, they're saying is just mostly for tab usage and casual agent usage. So this is probably a good way to start kind of framing and taking a look at like, what are these plans and what are you actually doing with your software? I know myself, I primarily am using agentic coding. A lot of people will say that's like vibe coding or whatever, but basically I'm the director, I'm in control of the code. I review what goes in and I'm using an editor right now, Cursor, to review the code and make sure I can step through and debug and do all those types of things. So having an editor like that is very useful. I'm not really going to talk too much about other features that other apps have, like, background agents. I'm not going to really talk too much about like all the other agentic stuff because I want to quickly just cover like if you just want to code with Claude Sonnet, what does that look like type of thing. So that's kind of is what it is. I know a lot of people are kind of upset about that, but that's kind of okay as far as like what we're going to take a look at here. So if you're going to be moving towards something where you do basically agent code every day, you're kind of looking at 60 bucks a month, but really that's just 675 requests. When I was traveling on vacation, kind of really lightly using Cursor, I used about, I think, a couple thousand requests and stuff like that. And typically I would probably use more in like the 6,000 request range or maybe more if I'm going really, really heavy. And so I'm probably more into like this range. So I was getting extreme value from my plan, even though I was only really using 20 bucks. I was paying like technically 20 bucks a month and then paying per requests after that. So I would actually pay like almost like 100 bucks a month because I wanted those fast requests. So I would pay up to like 2,000 fast requests just so that I can have enough bandwidth and just kind of keep going without waiting in the queue. And that was before the release of Claude Sonnet 4, by the way. And so now with Claude Sonnet 4, it's so damn good that I can't resist it. So we also have to take a look at what like Anthropic is offering. So they actually have using Claude Code with your Pro and Max plan. And I wanted to kind of get a breakdown of like, what does that really get you in terms of like, since I use this model primarily and like, what's my primary value driver and kind of why I'm kind of getting into this space here. So what's going on here is basically The Pro plan is still 20 bucks a month that they have there, but you can only send like 45 messages with Claude every 5 hours. So basically you send your first message, 5 hours later, it resets, you can just send another 45, you know? So that's kind of the way it works. That's 10 to 40 prompts. That's basically just getting started. That's just like, yo, dog, I'm just getting into the kiddie pool. I don't really know if I'm going to use this or not. I'm just going to just send some requests. It's not really clear whether that's just also for the web as well and kind of how that combines, but we're just going to be looking at their documentation here. And so the only thing with the Pro plan is you don't have access to the Opus 4 plan. So that's a really big caveat. So for paying 20 bucks a month, you don't have access to the Opus 4 plan. And this is with Claude Code, which I love the Opus 4 plan for planning. So Opus 4, I hit Shift Tab twice and I just start to iterate on the plan before I have Claude Sonnet 4 do anything else like that. So that's kind of where that's sitting here as far as like what the plans are looking like. And so they say best work on lights in small repositories, typically under 1,000 lines of code. I don't know who has 1,000 lines of code unless you're just getting started, like a typical prototype in V0. As you start spitting it out, you get to 1,000 lines super fast. So FYI, it's sort of the reason kind of why I'm saying that like Vibecoding 20 bucks a month plans are kind of dead. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to use these serious models, y'all got to be doing some serious output. And there's also sort of like a ticking time bomb, if you know what I mean, to like every month you're basically burning this much and you need to be at least earning this much to get this kind of payoff back. So yeah, it's kind of a sad day, but like, I feel like we're going to be talking about some other things, but I just kind of wanted to focus this in on kind of like where my world is at right now and kind of how it's like, all right, I got to ship my apps. I got to get stuff out there super fast, and then start looking at some other alternatives as well to see kind of what that looks like. You know, what does the open source space look like? Is it good enough as well? Is that hopefully that can provide some competition here to also kind of reduce the pricing for us as well. So yeah, all that stuff will be explored probably in future videos, but just kind of going over this because I know folks had a lot of questions. Kind of want to stay laser focused here before we hop into like answering some of your questions and some of your feedback. Especially some of the members here who've recently signed up to become members. I want to make sure I get your questions answered first and so forth. So as far as the max plan, for the detailed information here, now when you jump to the 100 bucks a month for Claude Code, so average users can spend about 225 messages with Claude every 5 hours, or send approximately 50 to 200 prompts with Claude Code every 5 hours. So for me, while I was in vacation in Croatia and also vacation like around Greece, I was using the Max Pro plan, that 5X for 100 bucks a month. And that was more than enough for me for Claude. I would always hit the limit with the Opus usage. So when you're using Claude Code, by default, they'll let you use up to 20% of your actual threshold before they switch you off of Opus. And then you can use Claude Sonnet. So I was very particular. I was switching the model to Opus, doing my planning, and then /model, and then switching back to Sonnet, and then just saying, you know, go ahead and implement the plan. So that way I had this like in the 5 hour loop, I could do stuff at night. And then like in the morning I would code and then go on my trip and like do stuff during the trip and then come back, you know, code. And then, so I had this cool like 5 hour break, enough where like I would get enough usage and kind of milk everything out of it while still being able to enjoy my vacation, like come back for breaks and do stuff. And then like, you know, just kind of hit it. Like, so I would either hit it in the morning and then in the evening, or in the middle of the day, kind of like space it out. So 5 hours was enough of a break for me to do that. Obviously I was in vacation mode, but yeah, just for FYI, if you, once I kind of like was on a boat and I was pretty much locked in on the boat, and I really couldn't go anywhere because we were like overnight doing some stuff, that's kind of where I went really heavy and had to upgrade to the 200 bucks a month plan. I have not hit any limits on this at all. And users can send an average of 900 messages every 5 hours, which is pretty heavy, like super heavy. Like this is amazing. And then I just have the default with Opus set up because I think the limit's now 50%. And I never hit the Opus limit at all. I'm pretty much almost coding with Opus, and it's a really great model. But sometimes I'll switch to Sonnet 4 if I just want this like consistency as far as getting stuff done. And it's actually a little bit faster than Opus. Just for that. So that's what's up. So what happens when you hit rate limits? I think they're going to be talking about this is like basically you have the ability to switch to pay as you go. So if you do have an API plan, you can switch to that as well. I was doing this a little bit back and forth, but it is very expensive as far as how much usage you can get for this. So yeah, and let me see if I could pull up a terminal window and I can show you a little bit. There's this command if you're using Claude Code called cc usage. So in order to invoke it, all you have to do is hit bun x cc space. Let me make this bigger. cc usage. And so this will basically give you your Claude Code usage for the month. So so far, I basically have used $400. And so I've got my money's worth straight up out of this just by running this command. So you can see it's pretty much just Opus 4 straight down the board ever since I got back July 1st. For some reason, it didn't mark my... Oh, it's probably because I changed the time zones. I lost a day or two coming back from Croatia. So there probably is a bug here where it's not really counting a certain day. Yeah, because I have been coding with it every day. But like you have to see, I haven't really been going super hard or super intense with it yet. But I'm about to be going really crazy really soon. So yeah, and so be kind of launching some features here live as well. So that's Claude Code Max. This is the thing I was talking about where it switches once you kind of use the model in Claude Code from, after you hit a 50% rate limit. But I've never hit it. I just hit it once, I have not hit it once. I just use the model defaults or whatever for that there. So this is where it gets really interesting, especially with Cursor Ultra, because Cursor Ultra has 4,500 sonnet requests. So if I were to look at myself, I'm pretty much in between these two plans, the Pro plan, which is $60 a month, and the Ultra plan, which is $200 a month. And I've thought about this. What if I just let go of my Claude Code plan and just go all in on Cursor and just use Opus and Sonnet and let everything go forth with everything in the way that I normally do it? That is a possibility too. And tomorrow I'm actually going to have someone on who has signed up for the Cursor Ultra plan. And so we're going to compare some notes because he has actually been shipping features primarily just using the $200 Cursor Ultra plan because there's only so many $200 to go around here. And so we have the $200 Cursor Ultra plan. I'm going to be kind of interviewing him and you'll find out a little bit more information. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button because tomorrow on the live, I think we're going to go live like a little earlier tomorrow because this person is based in Dubai. And so that'll be 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And so we're going to compare notes. I'm a Claude Code fan. He's a straight up Cursor Ultra fan. And I think for him, he finds a lot of benefits in the background agents and all the other features that Cursor offers, like BugBot. And it pretty much is like low-key YOLO. What isn't really clear to me, and one of the things I want to ask him is that I like the fact that Claude Code has a 5-hour limit because if something happens, I'm usually towards that tail end anyways. I need to take a break. I need to kind of go touch some grass and let my mind kind of chill out for a second. So then when I come back, I don't feel like I'm capped, if you know what I mean. So I don't think he's hit any limits and he's been shipping features and apps and stuff. So I want to see kind of what this really looks like. For myself, I haven't had a crazy month where I've gone over 6K requests or something like that, or 4,500. But we'll see, if I hit a limit, does that mean I could just switch models and still keep using it? I still have a bunch of questions. I would also like to see if I can get some of the folks from Cursor on and just ask them some more questions. And so if you have any questions, by the way, I have met the team and I have some close relationships with them because I've asked them questions for launches and sometimes they've given me early access to certain features so I can take a look at it and give feedback. I'm by no means related. I'm not paid by them or anything like that. I am so passionate about their software and I want to continue to use it as well in the future. So if you have questions, feel free to drop them below, drop them in the comments. I will review them and I will actually send them over because I do want to have a sit down with them if I can to ask some questions and get some clarity on the way that I use it, but also on the way that other people are using it as well. Because I think from everything that I can tell, they're not trying to scam you at all. I feel like there's just a lot of different ways that people use the software and it's kind of just hard to set a price and then really get it right the first time. So that's kind of what I've seen from a lot of companies, that they have to keep moving and keep updating to make sure that everyone can be served and that so the service doesn't get taken down. To be honest, I was paying $20 a month and you're seeing how much usage I'm getting from this type of stuff. I'm paying $200 a month to Anthropic and they're taking an L because I'm already using $400. People have been using $3,000 to almost 5K to 10K. I don't even know what y'all doing out there. I mean, you guys are straight vibing, but like, yeah, it is heavy as far as how some of these people use it. And it's pretty out there. So let me get some questions in from the audience right now. And then we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the deep research that I've been doing with ChatGPT. And I also have this thing called Scout.new that we're going to go ahead and review and see if there's like other plans from other people like GitHub. I have it taking a look at the new Amazon thing. Having it take a look at some of these other service providers who do give access to Claude Sonnet 4 to see if we can have a basis for comparison so that we can go ahead and kind of take a look at that there. So yeah, as far as everything here, let's go ahead and take a look. Mike D, who's currently a member, says, setting up my new M3 Max in the kitchen while I watch you cook. Bro, that's what's up. That is what's up, man. Dude, I definitely appreciate that. Yo, Alberto. So I'm getting to the members' requests first because y'all are my top folks. And then I'll try to see if I can filter back through some of the other messages. Yo, wondering if Gemini CLI is a worthy alternative to Claude Code as far as cost and quality. Would love to get your assessment. I'm definitely going to start to take a look at that a little bit because I know that other people are in a similar conundrum right now. I personally haven't preferred the output from Gemini as far as a model. And I feel like the model is really good at cheating and convincing me that its code is better than what it outputs, even though I give it extra rules, even though I give it extra guidelines, and even though I try to like manage the context in a lot of ways. So I haven't really figured that out, but I also have Eric Provencher, who is the founder of Repo Prompt, who's going to also be coming on the show. I have a show coming up with him this coming week. I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, I think it's Wednesday, actually. I have a stream with him Wednesday at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how I can manage the context a little bit better and to see if I can get better output. Also ask him kind of what his preferred go-to model is. So that would be really interesting because as far as some API pricing, it's possible that I can pay less than $200 a month. Sticking with one model, like to me, I value being able to not re-explain things as much as possible. And that's kind of the reason why I started using Claude Code primarily as my agent over Cursor's agent, was because I didn't have to, like with Cursor, I had to constantly grab files, highlight functions, highlight specific pieces of code, and then tell the language model to do stuff. And that gets tiring over time. And I found that with I found that with Claude Code's command line, the Claude Code like command line interface, I didn't really have to tell it a lot of the files I was really wanting to reference. I just said, this is my outcome. And then it would actually go itself and search my own code base and figure out what it needs to figure out. And that's kind of where I felt like I was in a greater flow. And so to me, as far as me paying $200 a month, the value that I get is being able to stay in flow, being able to kind of pick back up in my code base again the next day or the next couple of days, and do those types of things. Because I don't know about you, but for me, I'm also, a content creator. I'm a founder. I'm trying to launch an app. I'm trying to wear all these hats at the same time. So like I go from like, posting on X and just kind of, doing that type of thing to like editing videos to, going to feed family to coming back to, like I'm just all over the place. So it's really hard to like context switch all the time. And if I'm having to sit down again and go to Cursor and we're like, okay, where was that file? Oh yeah, that's right. Did I put that environment key variable over here or over there? Like you can see how that kind of adds up over time and convenience. I'm willing to pay more to get that type of thing back. And that's just the way that I'm looking at it professionally. And maybe you may not be in the same boat, but I'm just kind of speaking from my experience. But I do feel like it's at least some type of diligence for folks to kind of do that type of thing. Yo, PA Learner, thanks so much for becoming a member, man. You're such an MVP right there. Let me go ahead. I think you had asked a question earlier. I want to make sure that I get to it as well. I said, I'm actually sad to see AI, Cursor, Bolt, Lovable, Gemini, DeepSeek, Claude, AI Zero, whatever. It's struggling on basic things like a simple auth login and register or admin dashboard. Yes, I think there's a couple of things as far as like directions that everything can go. And I think the value of getting and using a template, or if you figure it out once and then making it a template so that you can repeat it over again, is super valuable. The second thing that I feel is also valuable are going to be design templates. And I think this is the era that we're probably going to start to head into as far as efficiency for things. So one of the things that I talked about in my last stream was called Magic UI. design. And so with Magic UI design, what's really great about it is that this guy is a designer, but he's also a really great engineer. And what makes him a great engineer is that he's using these components like ShadCN to compose his designs and then make his stuff like extremely good. And so he'll have these websites that you can actually like use, right? And you pay for the template once, and then you can customize it. And I'll have to do like a whole dedicated video on it, on the way he did this. But basically, my new website, Ray Transcribes, I literally used his template, and I mean, I got it spun up pretty fast. And with his template, I was able to have these components that I was able to customize for my own site, right? All these testimonials, I did not have to vibe code. Like, look at these details, right? And then on top of that, if I do mobile mode, like as I resize, you can see how this 2 columns and 3 columns, like I don't have to think about that stuff. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's light mode and there's also a dark mode, which is really crazy, right? So the value in starting off with a template like this is that you don't have to waste all these extra tokens and time like debugging things. This guy is a designer and he has a system already in place, and I'm just kind of leveraging it on top of that. So if I wanted to change the color, I just go to specific areas or ask Claude Code to help me understand how this repo is configured so I can change the colors or change the theme. Because basically now I'm just picking a template that he's made based off of the style that I want. If this is a style that I want, I'm going to go with this template, and then I'm going to start to modify it to kind of fit my needs and so forth. So I think where we're kind of going with this PA Learner is going to be more about like who has some of the best templates, who are the best people to reach out. So as far as like Magic UI design, I actually do have a referral link below. I love his design work, and that's kind of why I just refer good stuff, you know. But I want to save you some time as well, and I feel like it's worth looking into. There are like components and other things you can reuse from his stuff. As far as auth and things, there's also a really good repo from. There are a couple of good ones, but Ross Mike, he has a really good one for authentication, convex, database, and all this other stuff. He's since moved on and put some other stuff on that same starter kit. It's called the Next.js starter kit. But we're going to probably explore some of that in the chat. Also, when PA Learner, since you've just signed up to become a member, there's a post in there to get connected into my Discord. And then once you send a message, I'll get you in, and then just ping me there and I'll get you some of the repos as well, all up in the Discord. Yeah, so what's up? Mr. Frank says, upset at Cursor for real. They yoinked my plan. Feels like a bait and switch. It's even legal how my plan has changed, but trying to Claude Code Cursor dual setup right now. Yeah, my setup is literally like, instead of the agent, Claude Code is my agent. And I feel like I'm extremely proficient and move super fast. To me, the value is the fact that I don't have like that anxiety of like, okay, am I done for the month? You know, I don't have to think about it. I just keep going, and unless I hit a limit, which I only did once with the $100 month plan, I could just keep going and then keep going. And if I wanted the extra intelligence with Opus more often, I just paid that $200. And to be honest, after looking at that usage command, I'm so happy, because it's like I feel like I'm like totally winning on, you know, getting like way more value than I am actually on top of that. Mind you, I did not talk about the other features that Cursor offers, right? Like the background agents and like these other types of modes that they have, which are valuable, and every other types of thing is. But, you know, right now I really care about the model and the output and the usage. And I will probably kind of cover a little bit more in those details. So yeah, I think let's go ahead and see if I can take a look and see if some of this other stuff has finished cooking, which are some of the research behind what we're going to be looking at. So Sonnet 4 and Opus 4, and I basically just had ChatGPT o3 do a quick check on kind of what does this landscape look like for us and who's offering what. So yeah, we're looking at Cursor Ultra that we're talking about for $200 a month. So what's cool about ChatGPT, it broke it down in per 100 calls. Like, what does that look like? So you're looking at $4 at the Ultra plan per 100 calls. And then for the Pro Plus, it's about $8.89, and then Cursor Pro is at $8. So you're kind of like, these two are kind of the same, but once you jump to the Ultra plan, that's kind of where you get a little bit more bang for your buck, if you know what I mean, per 100 calls. So as far as Claude Code, kind of the same thing, but you can kind of see the bigger price difference, right? If you're just starting off with a 20 bucks a month plan, you actually get a really good deal just from this. But remember how we said there's only like so many, like 10 to 40 calls. So that's just, if you're doing agentic coding, that's probably just out of the picture. This is kind of where you're really getting into the picture. And this to me was really, really good value. And as far as like how many requests you can do a month, that's basically 7,200 to 2,800 requests a month. And if you're vibe coding, this is kind of where you're sitting at, which is really, really nice, And so compared to what's up here, this is a really good deal. Claude Code Max, $100 a month plan. You're sitting pretty. Once you go to like the $200 a month plan, you get probably more than what you can figure out here. So there's another one here with GitHub Copilot Pro, which is an interesting one that I haven't really fully looked into, but it looks like you get premium requests, and the premium requests will get you the Sonnet 4 models or GPT-4o. I don't think they have the Opus, but we'll have to double check here. But that is looking in terms of similarity to Cursor Ultra. You would obviously does not have the deep integration the way that Cursor does. And Cursor has other models that you can use, but we're looking solely at the Sonnet models, right? So Sonnet 4 or Opus 4 for these types of things. There's Augment Developer as well, so that gets you 600 agentic messages, and that's a little bit more pricey compared to all of them. My tech friend, who was here earlier on the stream a couple days ago, uses Augment Code, but they don't use one model; they use many models, and that's also what Cursor does. So that's something that I feel like we'll have to explore a little bit later, because it's not really in the same comparison boat here of just using one exclusive model to do things. And that's, I think, something that we'll have to compare with like Cursor Agents, and how does Cursor Agent compare to Augment Code. And some of my friends said that they actually prefer Augment Code because they don't really have to follow up instruction wise. And it's something that I could be interested in looking into. And I'd love to just reach out to them as well and see if I can kind of talk with someone there and understand what's going on behind the hood. So there's Windsurf Pro as well. So that's $15 a month, 500 credits, and then they give you 500 Sonnet calls. So that's basically per 100 call, like $3, right? And then 250 extra credits for $10. So recent reports say that Sonnet 4 may have a credit cost. So yeah, I don't think there's an Opus model, but I think it's just the 500 Sonnet calls, which is interesting. And then there's this new Amazon queue. I just saw a video from Ross Mike talk about this. And so AWS doesn't have a hard cap, but Sonnet 4 is selectable in the CLI. They have their own CLI. And I haven't really looked into what that is. So let's go ahead and see if we can kind of take a look. Is it just a couple $20 a month? Because that could kind of be a sleeper here, right? Like Amazon queue. All right, let's take a look. Developer pricing. So it's just $19 a month. And you get free for public CLI completions, everything in the free tier plus. So, okay, let me close these pop-ups. Wow. Okay. Agentic coding, 1,000 chat interactions per month. So for $20 a month, you get 1,000 chat interactions per month. And then the developer transform for Java upgrades. Okay. Well, that's it. But what if you want more? If you have, how many? 50 users? Okay. Interesting. Okay. They're confusing. I'm going to definitely make more than 1,000 requests, but I'm just curious what that looks like. It's not really clear. Oh my God, the pop-ups. Amazon's not known for the design. So June 5th, 2025, you can choose from the premium models. I think they have Sonnet 4. They don't have Opus. Okay. And so it's just a command line chat, just like you would anything else. And that's it. So you can just select Sonnet 4. You don't get the Opus. $20 get you 1,000 messages. It's all right. It's all right. So yeah, you get 1,000 messages, which is, like Windsurf. Okay. But it's not integrated into IDE. It's very different from Claude. Claude can't beat Claude Code. You know what I mean? But Claude Code, right? You get 10 to 40 for $20. It resets every 5 hours. That it gets you less than 1,000 a month. So yeah, it sounds like a pretty good deal from Amazon as far as what they're doing there. Okay, cool. So then what did scout.new do for research-wise for me? So I've updated the comparison, and so we're using Cursor as a baseline. GitHub Copilot has a free plan for 2,000 code completions and 50 premium requests. Nice. So they have $100 a year or $10 bucks a month. That's 300 premium requests. And then the Pro Plus is 1,500. Okay. Plus full model access. And then the business is 20 bucks a month. Okay. So these are for the unlimited. And then premium models include Anthropics, Claude, and then each request is 4 cents each. Okay. Huh. That's interesting. And then for Claude Code, this is kind of what we were talking about earlier price wise. And then Augment Code has their own model. So they have 50 bucks a month for individuals and then 100 bucks a month and 250. And those are just based off of user messages. But their model apparently is like much more agentic and can do a lot more. And that's to be explored and kind of not something we were talking about here. So this is kind of what we're talking about with Windsurf earlier. So that's 15 bucks a month for 500 prompt credits. And then continue.dev has pricing plans as well. Okay, so they have 50 chat requests and 2,000 autocompletes. Okay. Tab 9 has $9 a month, but it doesn't tell me has 3.5, but not 4. Amazon Q, which is the one we're looking at. Replit Ghostwriter, it's free, but they don't tell you what model they're using. And yeah, 10 bucks a month standalone. JetBrains AI Assistant, but they don't also tell you if it's like Claude Sonnet. Interesting. SourceGraph Cody is interesting. So free and pro plans discontinued as of July. So the previous plans are now discontinued. And I don't know what the new plans are. So that'd be interesting. Whoops. What happened here? Oh, okay. Oh, it pops into this type of thing. I didn't realize that. Okay. So SourceGraph Cody plans. Take a look at the pricing here. A lot to catch up on, and there's a lot going on. So let's see. Enterprise starter is 20 bucks a month, and then enterprise search. Okay. Is this the one? Yeah, AMP. AMP is their coding assistant. And so this basically has AMP Enterprise. So it's 10 bucks per user, and then single sign-on, get started, compare plans and features. Okay. I think from here, it's not really very clear what I'm getting for. Yeah, I don't see. It just gets started. I want to understand this a little bit more. ChatGPT. Help me better understand the pricing when using AMP as an agent, because I like using the Claude Sonnet models, especially Sonnet 4 or Opus 4. I don't. Okay. Notion would like access to my microphone. Sure. Oh, I see. Okay. Testing 1, 2. I basically using something to do dictation, and I had a little pop up on my screen, which is what you couldn't see, and that totally failed. Help me better understand the pricing here, because I am wanting to use the AMP agent in SourceGraph, and I'm trying to compare it to just using Claude Code. And the primary models I like to use are Sonnet 4 and Opus 4. So I'd like to kind of get a gauge of what the cost would be per month. Cool. And so what I like to do is use ChatGPT 03. And ChatGPT 03 actually has the best performing model for agentic web search. And so what that does is I give it a link like this. It's going to start doing its reasoning, its thinking, and it's just going to, it's basically like handing this off to, another person or another friend to go take a look for me and then bring those results back, which is super duper convenient. So while that's doing that, I really couldn't get a gauge of what's going on here. And hopefully that research can yield something interesting. And kind of take a look. So with scout.new is something similar. This is like Manus, but in the US, and I like them. They're two kids that are like in their 20s and based out of San Francisco, built this app. and they're super cracked as far as like what their web research does. But they're so good at making these computers that can be spun up online, search through the web, and click and gather information. So I think this is going to be the new thing here. Okay, so here's a pricing summary table. Source graph is not listed. And then there's enterprise, and there's the primary models here. So it's interesting because a lot of these people don't really show the models. And I like to code with Claude Sonnet. Because if I'm not coding with Claude Sonnet, then you can obviously do these other plans, and that's okay. And the plans are really just offerings as far as what features the app does, which is a little bit different here. So in my case, just like others, like I'm primarily doing agentic coding. So while I do use the IDE features and I do like having access to these other stuff, I like the best intelligence for the models so they can do that work for me. So it is what it is. So I don't think I see anything else in here. Let's take a look. So quick TLDR. So it has just upfront free and how you pay. So they pay at cost. So they pass Anthropic's API price straight through. And a typical Sonnet 4 will cost $6 a month. So that's 225 medium requests, and then $30 a month for 225 medium. I don't know what this means. That's interesting. So it's just like a $10 fee to get started, and then some requests per that. And then there's enterprise. So this is like a specific price here, which I'm not doing, and I'm not enterprise. That's interesting, right? So as far as like what the requests are, Claude Code via Claude Pro Web. So that's just $20 a month flat. No token charges, but hard message caps, free until you hit a cap, right? And then you have the max team plan, which is here, good for heavy Sonnet 4. Yeah, this is basically where we are. So, okay. At cost means. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so I forgot about this, but if you do just use the API, by the way, if you have like the inputs like this much money and the outputs this much money, and then Opus, like the output could be $75 per million tokens. That's crazy. That's massive. So yeah. So there's like, here's a token mathonomics. So a 3,000 token prompt, half in and half out. For Sonnet 4, you're looking at like 4 cents a request, or 4.04. Yeah. Like basically 5 cents a request, right? And then for Opus, the same token split will basically be 14 cents. So that's a really cool breakdown of what this cost may mean to you as far as token prompts. So like if you have like a huge like 30,000 tokens, you're doing lots of files. I mean, you just move the decimal point over, so that Opus 4 request will literally be $1.40. And then over here, it basically be 40 cents, right? And if you're looking at, like a couple requests, you're easily going into like the, 10s and 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s of dollars a month type of thing. So that's just API cost. It's really expensive, and this is probably why these people are charging more for their plans, and it's all anchored around Claude and the infrastructure to host these models. But they're really, really good. And so low key, I feel like this is some drug dealer action, right? Like they gave me the first hit to use these models, like the earlier dumb models, like a couple years ago. You get hooked, you get so into this agentic coding flow, and then like first it's like $5 a month, first it's a couple bucks a month for free, $20 a month. You're like, all right, $200 a month. And then now they try to like take it away. It's like, I don't know, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I am a fiend right now and I need this. So yeah, PA Learn is like saying, have you seen GitHub Copilot pricing table? On the table, there's fine-tuned models for code completion coming soon as an add-on. So free for Pro Plus. Yeah, I'm really curious. If I were to use a model, I would probably just use R1 from DeepSeek and use that self-hosted on Fireworks or some other place that you can self-host it, or just get a really beefy machine. But by the time you're spending like $10K for a really good machine to host these language models, how much is that in cloud costs? If you have a team that's running the model, you probably want to have something like that in-house. That's easy to justify as an enterprise. So yeah, that's kind of is what it is. So let me catch up a little more with the comments. Have you experienced any model quantization with Claude Code? See, I can't specifically tests for this. And I don't know if you know, but there are a couple parts in what happens when you train a model and then what happens when you deploy it and people like us actually use it. So when models are actually live in public, like the researchers have like done all this testing in their own environment. So like no one else is using the inference and using all the different weights the way that they do. So these models are so large, it requires multiple data centers and multiple requests and multiple batchings of things. So like when you have like all these GPUs lined up and all the model weights are loaded right onto them, when I make a request, I won't like, the way that everything works is like literally, you know, I shove my request down this giant, you know, pinball machine, and I only will use certain routes throughout that pinball machine like journey, right? And so it's extremely inefficient if you're a provider of a service like this to say, well, we have all these other GPUs and they're waiting there and there's this long queue of people waiting to use it. Why don't we just route other people's requests? And basically what that means to you is like, let's throw 50 other pinballs inside the pinball machine. And it's likely that, you know, not everyone will have the same exact path that the pinball goes down, which is likely true in most real world model physics. And so what they do is like they now get to utilize all the data centers and all the GPUs, and it's just extremely energy efficient all the way around to do this type of thing. When you have that type of scaling that you're doing for these types of models, you can start to run into problems because now you can't serve everyone's request, or what happens when a failure happens. So there's actually a whole art and science that is actually not really publicly talked about, but there's these people who deal with infrastructure for deploying these models who are really thinking very deeply about these problems that can understand and scale these things. And those people are really hard to find, but they're out there. And that's just the infrastructure side of things. So what people say is like quantize or something can happen. It's possible they could do something like a technique like that, but it's not always clear. But you can still have the same model have worse output because they're still dealing with some type of scaling law or some type of bringing up compute on the other side and so forth. So I don't necessarily look at it from quantization standpoint, but I look at more of like a scaling problem. And I hope that more people publicly talk about what that means for AI like language models, because to me that would be something I'm very interested in deeply talked about. So I wonder how Cursor plans affect enterprise customers because my employer bought thousands of seats last month. I know, tomorrow, LOL. Oh my God. I don't, I really don't have a lot of inside baseball on that. So if you can share any information, that'll be super helpful. I don't like, I feel like everyone's just using whatever intelligence they get as fast as possible. Gemini CLI is crap, the only good for planning and reasoning. Will 66306, okay. Do Cursor call out if 4,500 requests considers a context size on each call? No, they don't. But I think they're just kind of giving you a general sense of what that means. Because yeah, like if I have a large code base and I send up this massive request, you're obviously going to consume more compute. And they're not necessarily, they're just trying to give you an idea based off the numbers that are on their website, if you know what I mean. So yeah. So Rishav has used that command. And if you haven't done it so, you can run cc usage. You know, I run on the command line bunx cc usage. And you've used 2,546? Bro. Oh my God. Oh my God, bro. That's crazy. 2 Cursor Ultra accounts here. Changing to Claude Code because Opus 4 low limit rating Cursor. Samuel, this is the information I was looking for. I'm really curious because I use Opus 4, but I don't use it all the time. But apparently now I'm using it all the time because that's my default model in Claude Code. And I'm telling you, you've seen how much I've used it. I haven't really hit a limit. So yeah, if you want to use that model all the time, I definitely would suggest Claude Code. Obviously, it's a little bit getting used to if you're not using the command line, but that's something that I use or am pretty familiar and have navigated around. So high def context coding with Claude Code CLI, Augment Code, Gemini CLI, Open Code. That sounds like a pretty fire stack right there. Just ran CC usage, $994 in 4 days. Holy Funyuns, what are you guys doing? Only Opus never reached the limit. I'm on the $200 a month plan. That $200 a month plan, I'm telling you, do not sleep on that plan for Claude Code because that is heavy. The quality between Opus and Sonnet is so much. Yeah, Opus 4 is a game changer for sure. Hello, shout outs to my ex fam. So having a good streaming Have a good streaming, Ray. We'll cook something while listening to your stream. Like literally, people are actually literally cooking with the stream. I'm done with your live streams. You keep repeating yourself in the same live stream, consecutive ones. Your stream started to feel like not focused or anything, like a waste of time. Hey, it's okay. It's not for everyone, to be honest. And so I try to show up every day. This is my summer of streaming. And there are people who are going in and out of this type of stream. And so my goal is actually to take some of these streams and edit it down into content later on. So if that's your format, I would definitely stay tuned and make sure like you pop up the videos, because those aren't going to have the repeatable format for you. And so my goal is also to continue to live stream and like improve myself every time. So the only way I'm going to improve is if I show up every day and start to talk to you and try to figure out different formats that could work for everyone, because I want to learn how to do like a TV show format, right? I'm still very new to live streaming. I'm very familiar with cameras and things. And so I'm just kind of combining all of these different experiences and then also have to kind of like sort of make it entertaining and figure the stuff out. So, you know, hopefully if you come back like a year from now, this whole format will be completely different. And, you know, I don't have to win everyone over. I just have to continue to build on what I have right now. So if you are listening and you do have some valuable feedback, I definitely am open all ears, because I want to continue to make this show better for you. And, you know, I want to come in and eventually have like a show that's live, that's so dialed down that it just feels completely produced like a YouTube video or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. But I do really value the audience interaction, which is really fun. So I'm trying to learn how to balance this all together. So that's what's up. Let's cook. Let's see. Cool. That's awesome. Let's see. We got a lot of stuff going on. I do find a lot of value in just kind of catching up with people as well. So using the default setting, $20, 20% opus on it. That's really, really cool. Sweet. Cool, man. Love the stream, man. Keep up. Keep it going. Yeah, that's definitely cool. Yeah, keep it going as well. Yeah. I'm not really like tripping. I just know that if I show up every day, you know, things are just going to get better. So I have to show up. What do you think about people from a country where USD is expensive? Not sure. I want to try the $20 a month plan. Tristan, I know like if you're in Vietnam or in the Philippines and other areas like that, like the USD is outrageous because people over there get paid like $3 to $4 an hour or even less sometimes. So yeah, paying like even $200, it's like literally your monthly salary. And so I would take a look at some of the open source models and see how you can code with that. Like I said, DeepSeek R1 is really, really good. And if you can self-host that, even a quantized version, you're going to go pretty far just with that. I would highly suggest that. So giving Claude Code in Cursor a shot. Thanks for your feedback yesterday. I have noticed the performance during non-peak periods are much better in Cursor. So we'll see with Claude Code. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing as far as like how that kind of goes for your usage there. So yeah, that's what's up. I think, yeah, we've covered quite a bit as far as like cost. Do you guys feel like the $20 a month era is pretty much done? Like, is anyone out there that's using a Claude Sonnet 4 model or Opus, like paying $20 a month? If you are, and you're using it more than like 1,000 requests, like the threshold is 2,000 requests at least per month. And this is the agentic coding, and this is what I consider like vibe coding. So if you're doing that type of thing, you're paying $20 a month, you got to drop this in the chat. Don't gatekeep. You got to let us know. I do think that like you're going to be paying, if you're going to code with these models and use agentic coding, you're going to be paying somewhere between $100 to $200 a month on any one of these platforms. You basically have to pick your setup and then start riding with it. And so I think that's kind of where we're at as far as right now. Ryan, good morning. Good morning. I'm excited for the summer of streams. I work fully remote right now. So I put on the stream and it feels like having a colleague working with or talking on. Yeah, it's so cool. I totally agree. It's kind of fun to just kind of hang out in the mornings and kind of catch up with news a little bit. Do you think Claude Code can replace N8N? To me, I prefer code over dragging and dropping a bunch of UI things. I think, Dolphin, let me kind of hit you on some game for a little bit. I feel like whenever you're shipping products to users, and this is a little bit of my product experience, having worked with billions of customers, is that you want to abstract and take away a lot of those decisions as much as possible. And so what that means is that if you ever present a dialogue to a user or settings to a user, you have to really deeply think, like, can I make the decision for the user by default so they don't have to think about that step? And so the easier you make that, the more that they feel like, finally, someone really understands me. And what that means is that sometimes that decision can be divisive, and you could say you've removed this whole bunch of people from using your app. So you have to go on this like low-key spiritual journey and say, my app is a fitness app, but I serve specifically busy soccer moms who do this specific niche because they're willing to pay a lot of money to get that time back so they can spend that time with their family and be, totally at one with them. And so by the time they pick up your app and use it, they want to effectively do fitness as a mother in 5-minute increments and get this specific outcome and be out of there. They don't want to be reviewing dialogues for 2 minutes and be like, I don't have any more time. So that type of decision, you can see how it makes sense, right? Like you have to tune your tunables and then remove all those other like distractions and say, this is my outcome. Like just be really clear with your outcome and just double down on it and just keep doubling down until it kind of really makes sense for that demographic. And the only way you'll get that is if you keep talking to your customers and keep getting that feedback, and they're going to keep telling you like, please do this, please do this, please do this. And then, basically just kind of keep going down that rabbit hole. And that to me, you'll have a banger niche app and then people would be willing to pay lots of money for it. And then you can make another banger niche app. And so you'll have a collection of these and they'll be paying dividends for you. And you don't have to own like physical properties and have people like, like do whatever. It's like, these are like digital properties if you can kind of think about it. So that's a little bit of like product experience. And that's kind of where I'm hoping to go with this. So that's what's up. So would you suggest for a beginner, which one do you suggest for a beginner? I'm thinking about getting a subscription of Pro, a year subscription of Pro. A year. Oh, for Claude? For a beginner? Dang. Claude's, you have to use some type of sonnet model. And I would just, I wouldn't go all in on a year yet. I would just, the reason why I'm saying like, I'm kind of really hesitating here is because these models change so fast. In like a couple months from now, some like literally in a week or two, ChatGPT 5 will be out. And it's gonna be 100 times more powerful than ChatGPT 4 that was released like almost 18 months ago. 100 times. And so we don't even know what that looks like when compared to Claude Sonnet 4 or Opus. It could just be so out of the ballpark. It's just, and so if you already paid for a year for like Sonnet, that's kind of why I'm hesitating. So $20 a month can get you pretty far with something, right? If you're a student, there's probably some student discounts either with GitHub or you may want to look into something as well. So that's what's up. Yeah. I think the era is gone. The same playbook for all these startups. They start low and they keep raising the prices. Bro, that's the drug dealer formula 101. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's that mafia formula. I pay at least $100 a day to the API. Yeah, man, that's so crazy. Live streams are great. Thanks, man. Thanks for the shout out. That's so cool. I think it's the opposite. There's still too much competition in the AI coding space. So $20 per month is not going anywhere soon. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what this agentic coding like time frame was looking like, because if the models get so intelligent, they just need to have a basic conversation with you. And then some of these cheaper models are really good at doing all the dirty work. You don't really need a lot of interaction with an expensive model. The expensive model can only really truly understand and start helping you plan so that the desired outcome is better. And this is kind of what I've already been doing with the Opus model, right? I use the Opus model for planning, and then I was using the Sonnet model to just go and implement the detailed plan and then come back for me to review. So this is going to keep evolving, and this is just the beginning, and I had to start this as a conversation for y'all to show up so we can really kind of talk about it. So how do you occasionally experience cursor apply diff model constantly? Error, failed, apply changes, large code base. I haven't had a lot of errors with that, but if you do have like the bug report feature, I think it's like Command-Shift-P, you can file a bug report. You may have to enable or turn off your privacy settings to submit bug reports. You should definitely let them know about that because that'd be super interesting. So yeah. And yeah, if Elon is finally telling the truth, Grok 4 is supposed to be the most powerful coding. Bro, I don't really like, just show me the thing. Just stop talking. Y'all people like, so everyone talks. Now it's just, you got to show me the goods. We got to start using them. I don't like, like I'm seeing a lot of people hype GPT-5 and like, oh my God, I've seen something. It's like, I don't know what you've seen. I don't care. I need to play with the model. And we're going to do that live, by the way. So Bruce, thank you so much for reposting the stream on X. This is really great. It's also nice to get a notification that we're reposting this stuff. So yeah, how are you guys feeling about this 20 bucks a month? Is it the end of vibe coding? To me, for 20 bucks a month, you can't like vibe coding for me. It just means like agentic coding, you know, primarily as a use case there. So, hey Ray, what's the most favorite app you've created using vibe coding? What problem did it solve? Man, I have a couple of apps. I'll tell you one I did before and then one I did after. So one before vibe coding, I think it was more like I was using ChatGPT on the window, but I was trying to learn like Next.js and React. It's this app called Truth Torch. So let me go ahead and log in here so that I can show you, and then we can kind of talk a little bit more about it. So the app that I made is called Truth Torch, and this app is really cool. And I made this to try to figure out, there's a lot of people who post stuff on Twitter and they sound extremely confident, or like Mark Andreessen, right? Like he likes to write a lot of really prolific things. And so I just wanted a quick way to suss out, it's like, should I spend time reading this and really kind of dig in? Because I have a lot of trouble reading, and it takes me like 10 times longer than most people to read stuff. And so by the time I finish reading, I'm so exhausted. And I'm trying to like digest what they've said and analyze all these points. I just want a quick like 1 second breakdown of like, is this even worth reading? And so I made Truth Torch to basically do this analysis. And this is how I learned about prompt engineering a couple years ago. And this is like, I made some of the first discoveries of like, hey, you can actually use Markdown and you get consistently good output. And I was actually sharing a lot of this research in the early days on like Twitter Spaces, in the early AI meetups. I was like, people were trying to use JSON and other things. I was like, no, man, Markdown's really good. Like that's all you need. And this is literally just one Markdown prompt, and it produces this consistently every time, which is awesome. So yeah, this basically gives you like emotional appeals. It tells you like examples and the impact for every specific thing. And so it tells you like the logical fallacies for what they wrote. It's extremely good, like cognitive biases and personal feelings. And so that's really awesome, because like you can literally go to like any statement that anyone says. Like I used to like to do them for Sam Altman's like blog posts. And so Sam Altman likes to write in a specific way, and I get to actually see what like a pro level analysis is. And so like you can see this person's tone is like optimistic and forward looking with a sense of urgency related to AGI. So like whenever I see like someone saying that they're urgent about a specific cause, you always start get questioning, like red alarms, right? Why? You know, and so here are like the emotional appeals he's using and the concerns. And then like there's some actual logical fallacies in his statement, which is super awesome, right? So yeah, this is kind of like pre-Vibecode era. I want to revive this and turn this into like a Chrome plugin, so that whenever you're somewhere, like you can basically pop in a tweet and then just see what the analysis is and just give you a score. And then if you want to see what the deep analysis is, you can just click a button and it'll just literally just output this into the app. So yeah, that's one of the ones I did before. I think another one I did was called Vibe Stamps. So let me see if I can find this on X. But basically, Vibe Stamps will let you just drag in your timestamps, and then it'll actually make chapters from it. So let me see if I can see Vibe Stamps. Vibe Stamps. So I think it was on X. Yeah, here's the one that I did. Basically, I made this using the Studio Ghibli vibes. And so in essence, you just drag them in, and then like the little clouds would move in the background, and they'll just give you the full timestamps and everything. So that's kind of what I done. I've done some other stuff like, make a transcriber or something, chat with your transcripts. I've done them all live in like the last year or so, literally on the live stream. So yeah, Top Dan, thank you so much for reposting. The only downside is they don't have a bring your own key, so you can use 3.7 Sonnet. Oh, I see. Which do you prefer, O3, Gemini 2.5 Pro for Cursor? I prefer O3. O3 is a really good model. I love it so much. Like if I were to choose between the two, O3. O3 is so good. And then O3 is really good at agentic coding too. So like agentic coding, and you could do @web lookups. So if you combine O3 with documentation and you do any web queries in Cursor, or even not Cursor, just regular ChatGPT, O3 is going to be like really, really good. My opinion, or MIE for beginners, where you want to need more chats per windsurfs, 15 gets you 500 credits, but they don't count agent actions as credit use. So 1 credit will get you 20 to 30 agent steps. That's really good to know. Yeah, I got to pop back into it because that'd be really interesting as far as kind of what that would look like. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for becoming a member. I saw you just did that very recently. So hello. Feel free to ask any questions. We're just kind of hanging out right now and kind of doing that. So O3 versus Claude 4. Claude 4 for the coding, O3 for like the lookup planning, that type of stuff. And I would go back and forth between them, you know? So get a plan going at O3, pop it into Claude 4 and tell it to cook. And Claude 4 would just keep going until it's done. And so, yeah, that is what it is. Also, Cursor just released the new like task mode. So that basically will make its little tasks and to-do lists. And that's something that I'm still playing around with and kind of need to wrap my head around with. There's a little bit of bias because I've been using Claude Code so much that it's already been doing this for the last month and that keeps getting better. And the Claude Cursor's feature is only really launched in the last week. And so I'm still kind of getting a hold with that and kind of trying to figure out what that looks like for my code base. But that also means I have to spend more than $20 a month. And do I want to do that right now if I'm already spending $200 a month with Claude Code and I'm already really liking the output? So tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to have someone live who is an engineer who's been coding a lot with Cursor on the Ultra plan and going to ask them for some of that feedback. You know, it's like, do you have anxiety when you are using these features? How long are you really going for? And so forth. So have I tried M Code? No, I'm going to try M Code on my stream as well. I think I'm going to try it on Monday or Tuesday. My goal right now is to launch my app, Ray Transcribes. I'm literally was trying to do this right before the stream, but I hit a bunch of hiccups trying to launch it. And so once I get that launch, I want to show us using all these different agents to code and add features to my app, because one of the things I need to add is like if you give it a YouTube URL, an Instagram URL, or like a TikTok URL, I want to be able to transcribe the video and do it really fast like I currently do it. So that'll be really fun to do and try to figure that out live, which would be really cool. Do you think about ChatGPT Plus versus free tier deep research? I've heard Plus quality is much more better than the free one. You know, I haven't compared it because I have the Pro plan and I just get all of the best everything. I would imagine there could be a difference in terms of number of requests or thoroughness, but would love to hear if anyone has actually noticed a difference down below. So are you saying that the $20 a month is dead because 200-month agentic plans? Because I'm not buying $200 a month. Okay. What I'm actually saying, and let's kind of go back to this a little bit because there's some confusion in terms of what this really means and kind of what I'm really saying. So Daniel, let's go ahead and go back a little bit. So if you are primarily coding using agents or primarily using the agentic coding, not like actually typing in your code, there are now caps in Cursor for this type of workflow when you're using Claude Sonnet. So to qualify this a little bit more, if you're using Claude Sonnet 4, you're going to be capped in a lot of different places because the pricing is really, really high. So the reason is that like if you have a $20 a month Pro plan, you're only going to get about 225 requests, and that's for $20 a month. If you're doing something where you're basically coding with, directly in Claude Code's like Pro plan, that's only really going to get you like what's about every 4 to 5 hours, like 45 messages or so like that. So if you wanted to use this like the best model, this is kind of where you're at right now. That means that you don't really code this way all the time, because I can use 45 messages like in like 15 minutes. Just asking a couple questions, going back and forth, reviewing code. It's what I've done and what most people have been doing for a while. And what they're saying, if you want to use the Sonnet 4 models in Cursor, you're either going to come up to this tier here in the Pro Plus, which is $60 a month, or you're going to have to step it up to the $200 a month Ultra. So you do have options depending on how often you use it. But most people, especially the people on this actual chat who've been spending $3,000 to $5,000 on Claude Sonnet and Claude Opus using Claude Code, y'all are in this Ultra camp. And this $200 a month plan is technically cheap to them because they're getting way more out of it than what they're actually putting in. And so just as a heads up, that's kind of where this is looking like. And it gets a little bit more pricey as you have larger code bases that you need to deal with things. So that's also another heads up. So to each its own. Those, like I'm specifically talking about the Sonnet 4 and the Opus 4 models, there's probably no way that you can kind of get away with $20 a month at all. And so then you start to kind of think about, okay, what other models can I use? What are the, like, rethink your workflows? What is it that I do day to day? Does it work for me? And how much time do I want to spend going down that route? Or do I want to just go and ship as fast as possible and get my MVPs out? So decisions you have to make. Everyone is going to have their own ballpark as far as what they are doing. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. So AMP code has Oracle mode built in. So read only O3 on your code base, and then it sends a plan to main agent. Yes, I just read about this, and that's why I want to try this like tomorrow or the next day, because I really want to see kind of what this looked like. They literally just announced this, I think like yesterday, which is really cool. Chris, I'm hoping Klein support Grok 4 when it releases, as Grok 4 is apparently running a coding specific training run before launch. So another way, if you have API access to Grok 4 when that comes out, is going to be through a repo prompt. So repo prompt will allow you to select your code base and ask questions via the API. And it has its own little interface. So I have Eric on this coming Wednesday at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. You won't want to miss that, because we're going to talk a little bit about how he does that with his code base. Another cool thing about repo prompt, and I haven't done a lot of videos, but I will be doing some more soon, is once you have a plan set up and the code that you want to apply, you don't have to use the expensive model to write all of your changes into your code base. You can use like a Gemini Flash. You can use like GPT 4.1, which is also really good at coding. You can use a GPT 4.0 mini, or like a cheaper plan or a cheaper model to write the changes into your code base. So that way you're not paying those token costs, because the output for Opus is $75 per million tokens. You don't need to pay that. You can pay like 50 cents per million or something less than that, because you just need to go write the changes into your code. And that's where repo prompt is really good. You can set those thresholds for lines of code per model to do specific tasks. So that's just getting the start of it. It gets really complicated very fast, but I want to have Eric on to help us explain and talk a little bit more about that, because that's going to be really, really great. Is purchasing Cursor $20 a month still worth it, or $20 a month for Claude? You ask yourself the question, am I coding primarily with agents? Yes or no? And then if it's yes, like, can you look back to your dashboard? If you just go to like cursor.com and sign in, how many requests did I send this last month using agents? If it's like, if you start to break into like the 1,000 camp, right? You're probably sitting above the pro plan. So that pro plan's $60 a month. You're probably sitting in the ultra camp. If you're like less than 500, you're probably sitting somewhere still here in the pro plan, right? And so if you're here and you're primarily using the best model like Opus or Sonnet, you probably just want to consider, Claude Code. So that's kind of is what it is. If you're not primarily doing the agentic workflow or doing those types of things, this is kind of where you'll use the tabbed code. You'll probably use the auto model in Cursor. And so that way it doesn't use up anything, but you don't know what model you're getting, and you maybe have more intention or maybe are really extremely specific with your code changes and so forth. So that's the way that I would kind of look at that. I finally found CI that gives free access to Claude for Sonnet, not Opus sadly, but it'll take Sonnet. It takes 20 million free tokens every day and is RoboDev CLI. Yo, look into that. Make sure it's not like a scam where it takes your API key or something like that, because that just seems really interesting, right? Like, what are they doing with your data to give you that much for free? Because it's an expensive model. What do you think about Gemini 2.5 Pro? Is it bad? People like it. People like the model. It just depends on what you're doing and the outcome. I still probably need to prompt more with it, but I haven't really been super impressed with the model compared to Opus and Opus and Sonnet. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that. So I don't know why people said it's good. It's literally just your experience. Claude Code CLI on Cursor is way more better than Cursor agents. That's why I use it primarily as my main driver. Have you tried Zen MCP? It should be used different APIs for sub-agents, if I understand correctly. I'm trying to avoid MCPs as much as possible because it starts to cloud the context. And a lot of times, like, what is the feature that I want? Is it just routing? Is it just a really good model? I just want good code. And a lot of what I found is good code comes from a good plan and having a conversation about it. So sometimes it's not very clear to me what my outcome is. So I start a conversation with Claude for Opus to have it search through my code base, to have it grab the relevant files. What functions do I need to call? What's the transformation in data that needs to happen so that I can take my user account and then add this feature to them. So if I add a new feature where I'm keeping track of, what transcription jobs that they've run, and then now that they're running these new things, I want to make sure it still stays in their history. I'm going to ask my code base, like, how is this actually happening, right? And then how is the billing happening for the customer? Am I doing the final round trip, through this? And so I want to pull those things into the context and then have some type of execution on the code. And so whoever can help me do that as best as possible, you're going to take my money. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not a specific fiend for Claude Code or for Cursor or for whatever. Like, I'm willing to change overnight. If OpenAI becomes the thing, I'm going to go use the OpenAI thing, right? Like, that's just kind of where it's at, if you know what I mean. So that's how I roll. Apparently, RoboDev CLI is from Atlassian, so ask aka Jira. Oh, that's pretty cool. Interesting. I wonder if they're just trying to get into the game. You know what I mean? Trying to get everyone to the plans. Google Gemini had its weird way of working problems, so it's just like doing this for the first time. Oh, okay. I'm broke to get Claude Code. Y'all are playing, so yeah, that's interesting. It's free, no credit card, and it's ranked as the best CLI tool. RoboDev CLI, not sponsored. Damn. Maybe I should hit them up for a sponsorship, right? Like, if I hit up some of these people, I want them to give everyone free access so that we can just like give feedback. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if these sponsors roll through, we all should suffer together. $20 a month, it's cheap. Yeah, it definitely, for sure. Man, this has been a really fun stream. There's been a lot going on. There's a lot of drama right now. It's super spicy in this field. $20 a month for vibe coding with Claude Sonnet. I don't think you're going to see that anytime soon until maybe the next year, right? So yeah, I think. Let me see if I can look up this RoboDev, because y'all are just going about this right now. RoboDev CLI, right? Agents. Okay, so this is from Atlassian. RoboDev write tests for Dev AI is now available in the CLI. Okay, so can I get the Sonnet models though? You know what I mean? Dang, they make it so confusing. I hate this stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna just use ChatGPT. Whenever I can't find it in the first Google search, ChatGPT. I don't even know why I even do a Google search anymore. I really don't, actually. When I'm on the go, I literally just put my phone and O3 is already on deck, just like this. So tell me more about Rovo Agent. I'm doing a lot of coding with AI, and I'm trying to compare what the cost would be when using Cursor or something like Claude Code. I like to use the Sonnet 4 and Opus 4 models. So let me just go ahead and let it do its agentic search there. So that'd be really interesting. So RoboDev is not worth it. You have to give it permission per call, and it's annoying. Oh my God. Is Rovo collecting gatekeeping chat data, or is it a market share play? Yeah, good to know. I always use Grok or Perplexity for up-to-date searches. I stopped using Perplexity because O3 just became so good. And so I've stopped paying for them, and I haven't renewed my stuff from them. Grok, I forget about Grok. Grok is a sleeper. I do like it every so often, but I haven't really used it recently. So you're better off using Claude Code. Probably, yeah. Doom is really great. I like Doom is kind of like one of my community MVPs. And so he's always sharing a bunch of really good knowledge. So Doom says, I've tried RoboDev. It uses its own API to access Claude Sonnet. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, man. Agree, O3 is way more better. Yeah, and there's also a pro plan, which takes even longer. So yeah, that's what's up. John, what's going on from Lipson? Dude, I was just in Lipson, Portugal, like earlier in April or May. It's gorgeous over there, man. So yeah, I was in the north, and I was also in the south. Some really beautiful places. Also, the food is just way amazing. So Grok is way faster than ChatGPT. Is it more accurate though? I'm just switching between Tray and Cursor. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at that 1 minute TLDR from our friends at ChatGPT. Do y'all get down with the Chizat? All right. Let's see what's going on. Can I spread this out a little bit? Okay. So RoboDev, while in open beta. Okay, so there's an open beta. This is what y'all were saying. 20 million tokens a day of Sonnet 4, not exposed in beta. So the access to Opus 4 is not there. So you get Sonnet 4. Hey, $20, right? No, this is free actually. So it needs an Atlassian cloud site plus admin installment. Beta could be close. It's like, what does this mean? So does that mean like an everyday user like me can get access to it? I don't really understand. So you have to be already like an Atlassian user. There's Cursor Pro, which is kind of what they're talking about here. Claude Code, Claude Code Max. What exactly is RoboDev? Is an agent-first terminal tool, ships with 8K context, Sonnet 4. Bro, you only get 8K context? No one said this. 20 million token daily. Okay. What is this? 8K. If you start new sessions for each distinct task, you reset the context. Assuming a large task maxes out 8K output limit each time, you could run over 1,000 separate single messages per day. Oh, come on, man. Like, why even bother? Hooks into Jira. Today costs $0, but published Robo pricing model $16 per user once it moves out of beta. It's free with the biggest Sonnet credit tap on the internet. But what they don't tell you is that the context window is capped like a kneecap, like really bad, like a pinky toe. Treat it like a temporary. It's not even a gold rush. It's like here's like a shot. Chris is like, AK, I'm out. Yeah, don't even waste your I mean, you could waste your time if you like, there's free options. That's why we have this live stream. Everyone can play for free, right? Like but we're serious here. I'm serious. I hate wasting my time. So I'm really glad we're doing some of this research right now. So I think that's why Doom says that I've tried RoboDev to fix the error. You have to babysit it and hold it per edit. That's exactly what I don't want to do. And this makes sense because the context window is so capped at 8K, which really makes sense. So yeah, that's exactly why. People are crying in the chat, bro. Like, that's exactly why. I'm trying to save you some dollar signs here. You know what I'm saying? To me, I save time. I save headache, you know? What Claude Code pen are you on? And do you use Opus 4 all the way? I do Opus. I use Claude Code Max. I'm at that $200 a month plan. And I get 900 messages every 5 hours or 200, 800 prompts every 5 hours to Claude Code. And so with that, if you are running a terminal right now, let me see if I can pull this up. I thought I had a new window. So let me just get a new window up here. So you can run this command. It's called CC usage. And CC usage, you can run with NPM or I use Bunx. And then this will actually tell you how much Claude Code you're using. So as you can see, primarily the model that's been on ever since I paid $200 a month is Opus. Like, it doesn't really use Sonnet 4. And I'm already spent like $400 for the last, ever since I started using this since June 11th. So this is heavy Sonnet 4 usage, and I was able to use $66. You could see how much my output was there. And this is when I didn't upgrade. So if I had Opus running, this would be much, much higher just for 1 day of coding. So in that 1 day, I mean, you're already seeing how I'm getting all this money back just from using that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So yeah, as far as like when we're looking at this free one that we're talking about for RoboDev, the whole point of agentic coding is so I don't have to babysit it and like monitor the context window and then feed it the files, which was what I was doing a lot before. With Claude Code, I don't do that as much anymore. And then I now just flow and fix bugs and try to get stuff done. And that's it. Like, that's why I pay the extra money. And to me, it's worth it. So yeah. Context says it's 200K. Yeah. I need UltraThink. So that's the other part, Mr. Frank. Thank you so much for reminding me about this. So Claude Code has a thing called UltraThink. So I wrote about this on rayfernando.ai that you can go ahead and take a look. I wrote a guide on getting the most from Claude Code. And so in this guide here, I have a thing called Think Harder. And so you have to use these specific keywords if you're using Claude Code to get the extended thinking mode. So UltraThink will get you 32,000 tokens to think. And if you tell it to use subagent, each subagent will have 32,000 thinking tokens for reasoning. And then you get your output and everything is way higher. So I like to use UltraThink when I'm doing web research, having it scan through documentations, having it scan through my code base to reason through and making sure that it can kind of do that trace and say, okay, this function calls this and then does this, and then you're wanting to achieve this outcome, so we should do this. That's why I use it. And that's where the big unlock is. So just FYI, we're still talking about the AK context. The sad white cursor is changing. It's planned from unlimited. Yeah. Think now. Yes. Think now. Think harder. So what AI subscriptions do you currently have and which ones can't you live without right now? Bro, okay. Y'all really going to call me out on this right now. I have nearly every AI subscription under the sun, I think, except for the Google stuff. So I don't pay $250 a month to Google because I haven't really been super impressed with their model. Like, I like the idea, and I use the AI Studio for their CLI. I'm currently paying $200 a month to ChatGPT for the Pro. The Pro for ChatGPT has been like rewards given to me and taken so much. I was using repo prompt very heavily before Claude Code, and I was throwing a lot of code into ChatGPT o3 model just to get stuff, actually very thoughtful and returned. And then I'm paying $200 a month for the Claude like max plan. And so it was previously $100, now it's $200 a month. I'm paying $20 a month for the Cursor Pro plan right now. Have considered going to the $200 a month, but right now this is, as I'm testing out this do things, I'm kind of thinking, should I migrate? Should I do one or the other? I'm still kind of weighing that out. I think that's about it for now as far as providers. Those are like the main ones. But if I do remember anything else, I'll definitely let you know. WStream. Oh my God. All Ray needs is Claude Code. I already got Claude Code, bro. Yeah. Oh, I see. That's all I need. Yeah. I mean, if I were to get everything, if I were to remove, I think you said which one, if I were to remove everything in the world and kind of just stick to one, it literally probably would just be Claude Code and like a text editor, with some type of plugin and maybe have some type of Vim plugin or something for free. I don't know. But whatever. Yeah. But I like using Grok for finding markdown files for any Greenfield project. Oh, okay, cool. That'd be interesting. Thoughts on N8N? I don't really use it that much. I'd rather prefer to write code or have an agent write code for me and come up with a framework. What microphone is that? This is the Shure SM7B. And so the Shure SM7B combined with the Rodecaster Duo is my sauce right now. VO3 is pretty cracked. I want to learn more about video generation because I do want to tell some stories. And I got some really spicy stories that I want to tell that are kind of poking fun at current events, but more about like the psychological depth of the background. Like I have a theory behind kind of this drama between like OpenAI and Anthropic. And it's more of like the actual power game that's being played behind the scenes that no one's really actually talking about. But I want to bring that out in these characters, whether it's like a Lego character or whether it's some type of other type of being. So kind of anthropomorphizing people into like a different type of thing, but just showing these power dynamics. And these are things that are seen in the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. He talks about these very specific things and how like, it's sort of like war and these people are doing these psychological warfares. But it's all the same stuff, but you can kind of bring that out again and kind of make a new light, which would be really fun. And the best way to do that is through some type of model just like that. This VO3 model is also available, I think, on other providers. So that'd be really interesting to try out as well. I have not tried the new China ones, but I would love to know which one is like the best. I think it's Kling, right? What do you know? What's Trey AI IDE? I have heard about it. Is this the one from China that you can do? Is it Trey AI IDE? I'm really cautious about privacy if it's one of those like ones, because I remember there was one out there that just literally would just steal everything from you. Just YOLO. I was like, no, I'm good off that. Is this the one? Customize agents. Like, what do they do with my data? Let's see. What do they say? Privacy, local data, secure data access, regional deployment. So user data and infrastructure are deployed based on the account location. In the United States, Singapore, Malaysia, with the isolation. Like, why does my data have to go through there? So I don't know if you know about this. So there's like a dirty secret that some of these people don't tell you, is that some of your data gets stored on a server and then it gets replicated to other servers worldwide. And when the data gets replicated to those data centers, they have different laws for data privacy. So while your data could be contained in one location, if it's replicated to like the Cayman Islands or some other random place where the privacy laws aren't basically there, that basically means they can do whatever they want with the data, and there's nothing they could do about it. In the US, a lot of regulation for a lot of these companies have pretty much been lifted / gone. And so it sucks. I've seen this a lot as I was doing a lot of research, and I was like, this is really sad. So I try to engineer these types of things in my products, and then try to use products that specifically are very intentional and very thoughtful about how they use your data, and at least have some foresight in saying, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is our business model, and it is what it is. It's just really hard in this environment, though, to like be completely like, oh, I'm just a security stand, because everyone in some specific way that you may not realize it may do something either by accident or just by a provider that they're using can leak some data that you may think is okay, but then somewhere down the chain something like that happens, right? Like, oh, they have a replication scheme with my data centers that goes into this new location that, you know, has a different policy, right? So what that means is, like, let's just say you have to have a data center in like China, for example, right? So the Chinese government requires like all of anything that is sitting there that they have to have access to it, just bar none. So if you have data that's replicated to a Chinese data center, now like that government has to have like a breakable certificate to get into your back door to grab that data and then do something with it, right? Like, or whatever they want to do. And so you have to be mindful in terms of like products and architecture and like what's really happening. A lot of companies are really good about saying, okay, we're going to have a separate data center where like nothing in the US goes and touches that. So any customer that's in China will have stuff there. And if you as a customer travel there, we're going to create a new account and we're going to do completely different things for that specific region. And if you cross the barrier back, your data just stays there. And, you know, these are decisions that have to be done at like an enterprise scale for bigger companies. Obviously, it doesn't really apply too much if you're just launching a single app and vibe coding it. But I do want to make you aware that stuff like that is out there. And yeah, that is what it is. So let's kind of bring this back a little bit. I know I go off all the different ends, but it's a Sunday. It's my summer of streaming, and we're kind of hanging out. So this is really great. I really like this type of stuff. This is kind of what I want to do for members, by the way. So if you become a member and join the Let Me Cook plan through Ray Fernando, so rayfernando.ai, or sorry, Ray, if you go to YouTube and then you type in at Ray Fernando 1337, on there, you can join to become a member. And so when you join to become a member, you'll basically kind of get a badge and stuff. And I plan to have some member hangouts at least once a month where we kind of do that. You can also get access to the Discord, and we'll be hanging out there and, cooking basically. And we'll have this type of style of interaction where we can kind of hang out with me. And so I do want to do something where like after a live stream, we'll kind of hang out and talk some more, because I feel like a lot of people have a lot going on and it'd be kind of cool. Ideally, I think I'd like to do them on Sundays, like maybe do like a Sunday member hangout like this, where people can bring questions and kind of come hang out and just, chill with everything. Spoken like a true ex-Apple engineer. Yeah, I just say I'm a vibes engineer now, bro. All I do is vibe. I don't want to code, bro. I want code to code for me. What do you guys move for writing O3? Opus 4, unless it's something technical. Yeah, Claude Sonnet. Yeah, I think a lot of people are using Claude Sonnet. Imagine having a Neuralink and working with AI agent. Yeah and no. Once you start to understand some biological systems, you start to understand the complexity that there are systems like a plant that has way more intelligence than like a single language model. And it's so compact and so efficient. It's just ridiculous. So most people don't really realize that plants can actually see you. And the way that they see you is because there's light that's reflecting from your face and your body onto the plant, and they pick up all of those changes. So they sense your actual presence. Like, what language model can do that? What vision model can do that? Like, no. And then there's also other like intercellular like mechanisms, and it goes really deep. And so like for us to say like, if I have a Neuralink and have agent outputting code, that's such a like, I'm not trying to discount what you're saying, but you can do so much more. You know what I mean? You can have impact on other systems that are beyond what you can even think. And so like your form of thinking is just, it's almost like you just have to spawn a system, and that's just it's gonna do its thing. So it's like, it's literally probably would feel like you're living in the Matrix, right? As you're interacting with things, you'll have already systems and things that are spawned that are working beyond you. So like this level of thinking is more of like us using our fingers to type something to get something out. But the real world is actually way more intricate and has much more beautiful and simple design systems that can spawn other things that are much more elegant and beautiful than what we can even imagine right now. So I'm actually looking forward to this new moment in this current art form. I don't think that this is actually going to be what it is for like, neural interactions with like biology, if you know what I mean. So that's just my opinion, but whatever. W for membership. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Hey, tech friend, what's going on, man? Good morning from San Francisco, right? Hopefully you're in San Francisco. Yeah. Definitely going to become a member. Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate that. Everyone who's been able to vibe with me is just so chill. What's the best vibe coding tool at the moment is bolt number one. I haven't vibe coded recently in a while. I'm very biased because I love V0 so much. I just use V0 all the time. Part of the reason why I use V0 is because I feel like I can get the code, I can copy it out, I can deploy it. Like, it's really good at design. So part of using V0 is the fact that there's a design system behind it. So they use ShadCN for the components. They use Next.js. So I'm always going to get those types of things coming out of it. And to me, that's a really easy, repeatable template to go on from there. And they have a really good model, which is really, really awesome. And so that's my bias. I do need to specifically try Bolt, but I haven't really had a good reason to, because I'm always kind of on the go. But it's something worth looking into. Risha, thank you so much for becoming a member. Definitely appreciate it. It's so cool. All the support is actually going towards something really, really cool. So I'm on my mission to have my first 100 members. And with that, you currently get access to the Discord at a discounted rate. The Discord price will actually double from there. So planning to have my own site that I'm going to Vibecode live once I launch my app, Ray Transcribes. And so making a little community site, which would be really fun, and you can kind of see us build it live. But what I'm actually aiming towards is, after I get my first 100 members, I'm going to go buy this thing called the YOLO Box Extreme. It costs like $2,000. But this type of thing is going to allow me to stream live, like in public, in these different places, like at super high quality. And so I want to pull up into like cafes in San Francisco and have like this really beautiful vibe set up like this, and start to like interview people live. And, I actually want to pull up on people and like pull up on CEOs and stuff, and like actually see what they're coding with. Like, are you a Windsurf Pro, a Claude Code, Gemini, CLI? Like, have some cool interactions with them. And I think it'd be really, really fun to do that. So I'm going to try doing some of those streams literally just with my phone first. And so, yeah, we'll get to hang out. I'm trying to make my streams like evolve them. And that's going to be a really big evolution. So all of the support that everyone's been doing has just been really, really awesome. And I definitely appreciate it. I don't know how to code for non-technical people. I see. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, I finally hit 11K subs. It's so cool. It's really amazing how fast we've been growing. So it's really, really cool. So TechFriend also does a lot of live streaming. If you want to go see someone coding live and just vibe coding and checking stuff out, he even does some segments where he's covering a bunch of news topics and stuff in AI. Definitely go check him out. He's on all the platforms, TikTok. I think you're pretty much TikTok famous. You're trying to grow your YouTube channel as well. And so that's TechFriend down below. And if you haven't had a chat, definitely go check it out for sure. Wait, does Claude Code have an agent like Cursor Composer, for example? Yes, Claude Code is that agent, and it can actually be integrated in Cursor. I'm using it in Cursor, so you can hit /IDE, and it links it in Cursor. So whatever files you select in Cursor, that gets pulled into the context of Claude Code, so then it just makes it easier to go back and forth. You can option click, and then it'll actually select the files and everything, which is really, really awesome. Hertzfrel Labs, happy belated birthday. Thank you so much, man. Hopefully you had a good one. So cool. Yeah, for those who don't know, I have celiac disease. I don't really like cake anyways, so I celebrate using a watermelon. So I have a watermelon that's usually cut up, or like a watermelon, like, you know, platter, and then just put a candle on it to celebrate my birthday every year. So it's really, really cool. Scroll up for the video China model. Yeah, maybe you have to put it in the chat again because I'm a little bit behind. I've never used Claude Code before. Claude Code is definitely awesome. Based on what you're seeing, what's the next billion-dollar startup after Cursor? Man, I don't even know. We can take some hot guesses right now. And I think the next billion-dollar startup is going to be able to leverage these like agents in the way that Manus is doing. You know what I mean? So if somebody can make like the next version of Manus for law firms, crazy. You do it for medicine, crazy. If you do it for like a very specific niche, if you can take that technology and just go really deep on a niche, content creators, right? Content creators is already $1 billion economy. If you choose a content creator path, that I'm learning right now, it's so hard to make content, right? It's really hard for me to make videos. There's an entire workflows of research, of keywords, of staying on top of trends over and over and over again. And if I pick this niche, it's $1 billion industry already. Brands are pouring lots of money in. So if I start with my transcription system and then I add blog posts and I keep adding features, all I have to do is just keep listening to my customers and make their pain points kind of go away. I start chipping away at that, right? It's not going to come through one idea. It's going to come through talking to these customers, doing that back and forth, and keep growing with a passionate problem that I have, right? I am a content creator. I'm actually feeling the passion and the burn. It's really hard to do everything all at once. So yeah. Do you stream where you played with Magic Path? Oh, or you mean the Magic UI, the Magic stuff? If you've not tinkered with it yet, I'm not. If you can kind of clarify, that'd be really interesting. I'm using Cursor and using Claude 4 model, but nothing is working well. I wonder if your planning is ideal, you know, as far as like how you are doing your planning. What's the AI builder pricing model? Is it different for every technical versus Vibecoder? I think it really breaks down to how often are you going to use the agent to code and not. And so if you're doing anything that involves an agent generating code for you, you're going to be paying that premium tier, like at least a couple $100 a month to play. Other than that, you have a lot of different options. You know what I mean? Startups that develop great agents for specific industries will become big in the next few years. Exactly. Have you tried Chef by Convex? Oh, I need to try Chef. I was supposed to try it while I was on vacation, but I definitely want to do that again. So that'd be really cool. Yes, 11K subs. Definitely appreciate that. Everyone's so awesome. Les Z just became, let's go membership. I definitely appreciate that. That's super duper awesome. Les Z, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the membership. Check the email so that you can go, or check the message so you can send the email so I can get you on that Discord as well. Watermelon. I don't think it's just what I like, bro. Like, I don't see what's a problem. Like, you may want to look at yourself and why you think that way. Thanks for showing me Claude Code, Ray. I just got my bill and it's way over 3K USD. I don't know if y'all know about this. Yeah. Okay. So the sauce right now, if you haven't done this yet, is to run CC usage. And I use BunX CC usage. And then you can see what your usage is. And my boy over here said that he's already got over 3K on the spend. MVP with that. MVP. Kling is the China model for generation and no audio. Kling model. Oh, Kling AI. Oh, so there must be an app and everything? This is really, really cool. Give me Claude Code. AI chat UI. Bro, it's not even loading for me, bro. What does that say? I think the government's listening, bro. I got to change the topic. Hey, guys, what do you think about my membership? No, I was asking your opinion. What's the ideal AI builder pricing model? Is it different for very technical people versus total vibe coders? You know, I'm not in the market of developing or generating plans, but I'll tell you my opinion. You know, I like, I'm an engineer, right? And so I'm now becoming an entrepreneur and I'm wanting to make these apps so that I can test the market and get that feedback and iterate as fast as possible. And in the last year, I've learned how to use like AI to help me with those types of plans. When I was writing the code and learning a new programming language like TypeScript and trying to deploy to the web, set up Stripe and set up accounts, it would take me a very long time and it was pulling my head, but I was still kind of making some progress there. With the advent of ChatGPT and like ChatGPT 4 or the GPT-4 model, that sped up a lot of things. It's like, okay, cool. This is the script I need to use for the database. This is the thing I need to use to seed it. I know I have to do these things, but it just will take me much longer to write them. But having an agent to help me write those scripts for me was so helpful. And it was so helpful for an agent to write scripts for testing, testing the data that goes in and out. And each of these types of things, I needed to do. And I know I have to do them as an engineer. So having that agent as a co-pilot for me was really, really helpful to kind of assist in those types of tasks. So as far as like actually writing the code, I was doing less of that. And I was doing more of like, I know the plan I need to do. Who can get me that code as fast as possible? Is it literally hiring someone or is it literally just using an AI tool to help me get there? And so in some ways, I kind of feel like I've been bamboozled by a lot of these companies because they're just like, yo, it's just $20 a month. That's kind of the thing. But now everyone's coming in and was like, can we charge you $200 a month? And then like no one is blinking at that $200 a month cost. And they're like, shoot, we undercharge. We should probably be charging $1,000 a month. But look at these people, like, everyone's talking about it like it's helping them get like $2,000 or $5,000 worth of code. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next to like 6 months to end of even next year, if these models start costing $2,000 a month to run, and everyone's going to be like, bro, I just give up. So we're a little bit of in a golden era. And I feel like I want to output code. It doesn't matter if it's me. It doesn't matter if it's an agent. If it doesn't matter if I hire someone from a different country and it's $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever it is. Like, I need this as a business. And that's the way I'm looking at it. And so whatever can help me get there. At that time, it was $20 a month. Now it's $200 a month at least, right? And it's for one platform and then another platform for research, marketing, and doing all the other types of tasks that I need to do. That's just what it is. Until I make my own platform and then I'm going to charge people, $60 a month and it combines all of that together. Hey, I have a business, right? So it is what it is. I think that's kind of where that's just my needs as an engineer moving to be an entrepreneur, coding with AI to help me with my productivity and get to where I need to go, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's what's up. Dude, Bacon Overflow. This is my favorite username on this whole thing. I always laugh when I see this name. Claude Code released some stats last week as part of their GA announcement. So yesterday, if anyone hasn't seen, 115,000 devs total and 195 million lines of code have changed last week. Sheesh. Oh my goodness, bro. That's insane. What time does your live stream start? Is it 7 days a week? Is it the same time every week, California time? Byron, the goal is to start 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single week, every single day for the entire summer. I'm doing my summer of streaming series. So I'm trying to show up every single day. Trying to actually understand what my format will look like. So you're actually watching me at the very beginnings of this entire concept. The goal is to get to millions of subscribers, right? But got to start small, got to start somewhere. And so I appreciate everyone who's been a part of this journey from the very beginning, from my first 100 subscribers less than a year ago to breaking over the 1K subscribers to now breaking over 11K, which is absolutely bonkers. Also, shout out to my paying members who have just recently joined. My goal is to get to my first 100 paying members. And I'm going to be doing some really, really cool stuff. And so those folks who are basically my founding team, y'all are the day one people who've been able to be here from the very beginning and are now rolling with this. My goal here with this channel is to generate code using AI. I'm an engineer who Used to work at this fruit company in Silicon Valley, and now I'm working on my own and trying to actually launch my business. I'm trying to launch an AI business, and my business is going to be to help myself with my live streaming. So my live streaming is literally one part of it, but the other part is like these tools that help me with live streaming and content. So I'm launching this app called Ray Transcribes that will help you transcribe videos and stuff, and it pretty much will help you get ranked and so forth with Google and all that stuff. So more on that actually in the coming days, which would be really, really cool. But that's kind of the emphasis here, and you're kind of watching me stumble along live as I learn business, entrepreneurship, changing my engineering hat and putting on the marketing hats and the other types of hats that we need to put on to get software out the door. But also you'll get to see some of the process of what I think about for testing and how I'm using some of these tools in my everyday life. So do you have a useful Claude Code rules file, or is the biggest upgrade to Claude Code? I do have a Claude Code rules file, but I usually do /init to generate the rules. And then as I go, I just add rules in. And then Convex is my database provider that I use. So they have a rules file that I put in, and I will reference it sometimes in the chats when I'm doing specific things with Convex. And then I just learned about custom / commands. So that means that I can have a rules file that I run every time I do a specific / command. So I'll have to share a little bit more about that workflow because that'll be super powerful. Otherwise, I'm just dragging in the rules file into my chat, and then I hold shift, and then I start to say, please reference this rules file when you're doing XYZ. Has anyone here created a project on Lovable? Yeah, good to know. Yep, use all the subsidized tokens while you can and hit your personal escape velocity. This is exactly the plan. If I can use this $20 a month plan, which I was going super hard on, now the $200 a month plan, I'm trying to get my app out there before they start charging me $2,000, $20 a month. Like it's gonna get crazy. We got VC money tokens right now, so y'all better use it every day. That's what I'm talking about. Jennifer, thank you so much for becoming a member. Y'all are the real MVPs here. Oh man, this is so cool. Awesome. Appreciate the memberships. Y'all are really killing it out here. Oh my God. Ray, if you're building an AI enhanced coaching system like for gamers, would you use Open Router, Olama, or just go full serverless with hosted endpoints? All right. So right now, if you're doing this type of system, I would just scrap whatever you can together to get an MVP to get feedback and get yourself a little community going as fast as possible. And so you want that feedback because these people are going to give you that thing that you need, and then just switch out the different components as you need them. So right now I'm trying to use API providers and anything that'll get me there as fast as possible. And then if I have so much demand, then I'm going to look to self-hosting some of these models in different ways, right? So like I can self-host something, sometimes I can't. And so that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. And that's kind of the way I would approach it. Things move so fast these days, and you're going to want to move fast anyway. So anything that can help you speed that up, whether it's deploying to a certain service provider, using certain APIs, using non-self-hosted things to get you to get that feedback is probably the best way possible. So it just depends on what you're doing. So Chris, you'll hit your 100K goal in subs. Yeah, that'd be really cool to hit. That'd be really awesome. Do you plan to Discord group calls in the future? Yes, yeah, definitely. So my goal is to have one at least once a month, and then on the Discord, same thing with like once a month. But I like to do them on YouTube. So the YouTube thing is really great because once I have a Discord call and it ends, unless you were on the Discord call, you really can't get any feedback. So ideally, I would just have it on YouTube, and then you can join through the Discord to ask questions, and I can link them together because I have a whole like studio thing in here, so that'd be really cool. No doubt by the end of the year, your background is your background real? Yeah. Crazy, right? Oh man, that's awesome. Is Steve Jobs revered at Apple? Did you work with him at Apple? What was he like? What would you have thought of Claude? I can't really speak for other people because they have their own thoughts. I've been in the office like before, like the Apple Watch launch, like in Tim Cook's office, like literally giving him the watch, or like giving the watch to Johnny Ive before he meets with like Anna Wintour. on a secret mission and stuff like that. And so I've got to like meet people and things, and like haven't had like a lot of in-depth conversations with these people. Like I wasn't their like buddy sidekick type of thing. But I got to work with a lot of people that they work with like all the time. And I'm really curious to see where they're going to go with this AI race. Despite having worked on a lot of like, client side code, I'm very interested in these AI models, and I'm very interested in kind of seeing what's happening in the web development world, because all of the frameworks are very mature on the web to interact with these models. And I'm kind of spending a lot of time there. I feel like, Apple's a little bit behind right now with the frameworks. They may eventually catch up, and they may do some interesting things on device. And there's a lot of interesting applications that can happen on device, which could be really interesting. But right now it's still so like yet to be developed. And a lot of people who are working in that space are pulling out their hair right now because it's moving so slow. So I'm more interested like in the app level development and above. And I think a lot of people who worked with those people and those executives definitely miss them, and they've had huge amounts of impact. And people are sharing stories today that didn't even work at Apple, and they worked at other companies, but done business with Steve. And it's changed their way of thinking because he is that type of character. So yeah, I don't know if I can't really answer too much, but like, yeah. Wow, looks nice. VO3 is generating that door opening. Bro. Yeah, that's so fun. Tunisia, let's go. Damn, where's everyone calling in from? Please tell me. Do you think AI product success is more the quality of the tech or the quality of the onboarding? AI product success is the people. The people are like the main reason why they stick around. So if you're not serving them, they're going to leave and they're going to be served somewhere else. And so I want to tell the story of like a dog food company called Chewy. There are people who have these dogs, and as soon as they pass away, they call the company, say, my dog passed away. And so then like, it's a pretty sad moment. The person on the phone empathizes and so forth. And so what ends up happening is that they say, hey, don't worry about it. I know you have a subscription. We're going to go ahead and cancel that. We're also going to cancel the previous month's subscription that you had because, we just feel for you. And, they hang up, and then like a day later, a week later, whatever, they get flowers and they get some other stuff sent to their house saying, like a little card saying, we feel for you, but we're ready for you for when you have your new dog or whatever. Because most people who have dogs end up getting another one, once their dog passes away. So the loyalty that develops, even though they're no longer a customer, they've already left. It's not profitable for them to send this type of thing, but they care about their people, is so big that everyone ends up going back. It's like a huge return driver back to their service and product. And so I say that because not a lot of people talk about how a good product or a good experience like that, almost like a high-end hotel type of thing, actually drives a lot of people to come back. So that type of feeling is just something you can't sell, and not a lot of people talk about it. It's something that I learned having worked in customer service as well. I used to work at other like Geek Squad and going to people's houses and repairing computers. So I got to actually work with people, grandmas and everything. By the time I leave, like everyone's wanting to like be my friend and like cook stuff for me or whatever. But I deeply cared about their situation because that's just the type of person who I am. So that empathy actually goes a very long way, and ways that you may not realize from a quantifiable product perspective that actually benefits the company a lot more. So it's something that you want to think about in your product. It's like, how can I add empathy? How can I understand what the other person is going through on the other side so that I can meet them where they're at? And also think a couple steps ahead so that I can meet them in the future, to be there if I'm not there right now, right? So that's kind of where I'm looking at. And I think this is the answer that we need to answer in AI tech that no one's really talking about. A lot of VCs, a lot of people on Twitter are very much flashy and saying, my product can, dance around the roses and do other stuff. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't make people feel better, if it doesn't improve their lives, or it doesn't move them in a way that can make them want to even adopt your product, you're going to catch a L no matter how much money you've spent. So it is what it is. It's the reason why we're talking about these models in here today, is because AI coding has changed my life literally. And I'm using anything that can help me help me ship my product. as best as possible. That's my long little pontification, but I feel like a lot of people need to hear that. I guess, yeah, it's definitely not the tech, but more about not necessarily quality of onboarding, but it's more about the overall human experience and what you're actually kind of give to your customers to make them really, really great. So Apple has the war chest to gobble up an AI company. They have enough cash. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this is really going to shake out. So you guys get the most effective way to translate your Figma design from Next.js to Cursor. I want to learn more about this. I know a lot of people work in Figma, and I know V0 does some Figma translations. I think there's another one that can do it as well, but I would love to hear anyone's feedback because it would be greatly appreciated. So what's taboo to discuss often that people is that people over product at a certain point comes at an associated cost burden, which some startups can't take on while larger orgs can. That's correct. Yeah, I think it's good to dream, but also one of the cool things about being like an indie dev is that you have more control of that. And I'm okay with making $20 million a year on an app that takes me a couple years to develop. It starts slow. I make $5 a month, then $10 a month, then $100 a month, and then you keep going up. And so over time, if I can get that market share, like a VC is not going to blink at you unless you are going to talk about making over $300 million a year or something or more, right? And you want to grow at a specific trajectory. So like there is this really cool gap that we have right now to do this. And I feel like we're going to win out because we have access to these tools, and no one's really talking about that. So that's my dream/goal, and I'm going to make that happen. I don't care. You know what I mean? So y'all are with me. I think you're all on the same wavelength with this, Hey, how's it going, man? Corwin, thank you so much for being a member. I was CTO for a startup for the 90s. Our CFO was from Netscape. And one thing he told me was it's all about the user experience. A good UX earns you a lot of grace from users. I cannot double down on that statement, like 1000% agreed. Yeah. And that also means, like I said earlier, it's just doubling down on what's your purpose, what's the problem you're solving, what's your niche. If it's not clear yet, that's okay, because as long as you get those first users onboarded, you're going to have that start to build those relationships. And those relationships are going to be key to the next steps in your product cycle so that you can keep going, right? So don't get discouraged if you're not there yet. There's a lot of different steps ahead. There's a lot of confusion, but we're going to get there. All right, fam? That's what's up. What a great mega stream here. This is just kind of talking a little bit about the pricing and kind of went to a lot of different directions. And I'm really glad that I was able to connect with you. And big shout out to all my new members who've just recently joined my membership to support Ray Fernando here in my journey. You're some of the first, you're like the first 100. So that's kind of what I'm saying here. And I definitely appreciate that. So coming up this coming week, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what we got coming up. So on Wednesday, we're going to be talking to Eric Provencher about repo prompt. So that's going to help us with the AI coding stuff, understand like how we can code with these other models. If you're trying to like be price sensitive, what that can look like, but also how you can take advantage of that. And then the other thing that we're going to talk about is tomorrow, we're going to talk about the Cursor Ultra versus Claude Code. So I have someone from Dubai who's using Cursor Ultra like all the time. So 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, before he goes to sleep, I'm going to be waking up super early where there's like massive time difference. But we're sort of going to go head to head and ask each other questions about our experience, because I feel like I'm a big Claude Code guy. He's like, dude, Claude Code is overhyped. And so it's going to be a really good kind of mashup stream on us talking about, he has lots of experience developing software. So it's going to be one to listen in definitely for sure tomorrow. So that's Monday, that's Wednesday. I'm going to try to launch my app, Ray Transcribes. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but I'm running into a bunch of issues tonight. Once I launch the app, I want to show you how I build features using Claude Code so that you can see me walk through my plans. You can see me walk through how I solve problems, and the app will be live in production. And the goal is also to try to see if I can build my community site as well. So later on in the week, you also see me build the beginnings of my community site, and I want to make the starter kit like open source. It's because I'm going to fork Ross Mike's previous repo for Convex, ClerkAuth, some of my favorite like stack, and just kind of make my own stack so that everyone can just kind of start using that as a baseline. And in there, I'll put in Claude rules and all the other stuff so that everyone can get started. But we got to start somewhere. So that's how we're doing this type of thing. And then for my members who just recently joined, I'm going to have like a members only live stream coming up. So I'll put that on the schedule. It'll probably be either Saturday or Sunday, depending on the schedule and so forth. But if you want to, I'm going to probably make a post on YouTube and say, which day or which times you prefer, because there's people from all around the world listening. So this is really, really cool. I also have a Twitch as well, but I primarily stream on here, and I think I try to multi-stream everywhere. So that'd be really awesome. Yeah, it's totally awesome. I'm looking forward to the comparison with Claude Code versus Cursor. That'll be really, really cool. So finishing my MBA, emphasis in strategic marketing, all this stuff around AI is great at helping people solve their problems is step one. And two is you shift the problem solvings they don't know they have yet. Exactly. Yep. That's just problem unaware to problem. Now you're aware that this is a problem, and your user, once they're aware of the problem, what are the other things that you're going to anticipate for them? And that's what you can deliver with AI, getting that customer feedback, building a group or building a community to help you kind of get there. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Amazing 2-hour mega stream here. I've accomplished a lot, and I appreciate everyone for the support. I always appreciate the feedback. Everyone's got some really good comments as far as how I can improve my stream. I'm trying different formats here. So this is my summer of streaming. I'm showing up every day, not only for you, but also for me, so that we can grow together. I'm trying to use AI to help me gain freedom. And I'm trying to use these, these $20 a month, now $200 a month plans before they start charging $2,000 a month, so that we can launch our apps and start making some money, start solving some really cool problems for this world. And I'm okay if I start to make, 20 to 100 million a year and like a VC doesn't care about me. I'm okay with that. Hopefully you're okay with that too, right? We could just go chill on islands and stuff. So that'll be what's up. All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. sharp Pacific Standard Time.